Hello everyone, welcome to 12am coding. So in the last tutorial we have seen that how we can customize the white label error in Spring Boot. Okay, so how we have did it, let's say for example in your Spring Boot application we are not having any controller currently, so we want to customize the 404 error. So what we have done, simply we have just added the time leaf dependency into our build.gradle, and after that into the templates we have created error.html, and whenever any white label error occurs, then this error html will be triggered and it will be showing on the UI. So if we just hit this 8090 default port, as we are not having any controller into our application, so it is showing this html. Now the thing is, let's say you want to customize it more. You want to run some logic if some error occurs. In that case, you can create the controller also for error. Okay. So today we will be seeing how we can create that controller. So simply what you need to do, for example, you can just create one class which is, let's say, anything, my error handler. Okay. Okay. And in this my error handler, we need to implement the error controller actually. Okay. So we need to implement one interface which is error controller. Okay, and this we have implemented. Now this is important actually, you need to implement error controller, and that's how Spring Boot will know that whenever any white label error occurs, so it need to go to this particular controller. Okay, so what simply we can do, we can just put at the rate controller annotation, as I already told about, like this, if we need to create the API, then we can create it at the rate controller and at the rate rest controller. You can go and see the video in the past tutorials. Then simply what we can do, we can create one controller, which is, for example, we can create a get mapping, and I am putting error actually here. Okay, the API URL will be error. And then we can just create a function, which is, let's say, public string and then handle error, for example. And in this one, we can return a error. Okay, so what it is exactly doing, as it is a controller, so it will be the MVC actually. So it will be seeing that view. So currently we are having error.html with the name. So automatically this will be returning us error actually. Okay, and for example, like in the earlier tutorial also we have seen that we can simply return this error.html, but you want to run some logic. So for example, currently I am just printing something that error occurred. Okay, so that in our console it will be visible. But for example, you want to run some specific logic, or from the code you want to pass something in your this HTML, then you can do that way. So I'm not going into that direction, but simply let's say any logic you want to implement, you can implement in here. Okay, so what I'll be doing now, I'll be running my application. Okay, and before running, we need to do one more important thing, which is in the application properties, we need to put one property which is server.error.path actually. Okay, and this path we need to put this particular controller path. So currently we are having the error, so I am just putting slash error. So whatever, like let's say any other path will be there, so you need to put that slash and that part, so it automatically will be triggering that one. So if we run our application now, then our page should be looking same only, but this should be printed error occurred, okay, in our console. So if we go ahead and run this, then it is showing this particular page which is valid. And if you see, it is showing the error occurred also. So as I've told, now this is triggering this particular controller. Okay, whenever some error is happening, and you can customize it your way. There is one more important thing. Let's say according to the status codes, you want to put, like you want to return different pages, then how you can do. Simply what you can do, you can just I'm just adding one code and I'll be showing you. So we need to add this http servlet request. Okay, so automatically your http servlet request, it is having the status code, whatever status code you got. Now what you can do, simply with this particular request as an argument, you can extract the status code for the error. Okay, and then simply we are just parsing it and just putting it as an integer. And then if status code is equals to not found, for example 404 not found status code, or internal server error, or any other 401 error, whatever you want to have into this one, then you can return those specific pages. So this error hyphen 404 will be the HTML actually. So as in the last tutorial I have already told that if like we want to define some specific status code error, then you can create the error folder, and in that you can just create that with a name like 400 .html or 404.html, so those kind of things. So you can just take a reference from earlier video. But simply what we are doing in this, we are just extracting the status code of the error, and based on that you can apply the condition. So it depends upon you what logic you want to implement, and you can then return the page name. So whatever page will be here, error hyphen 404, it will be returning. If error hyphen 500, it will be returning that way. Okay, and like if nothing matches, then we are returning our simple error.html. Okay, so this is the combination of like controller, and then we are using the Spring MVC at the rate controller annotation to return these pages. And you can customize your logic, you can write a logic whenever any error occurs. Okay, so yes guys, that's it for this particular video. If you like the video, please hit the like button and share with your friends, and please subscribe the channel. So thank you, see you in the next tutorial.